Hello and welcome to the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I'm your host, Janine McKinnon, manifesting maven, lunar ritualist, nature lover, sex magic expert, and empowering sex, love, and relationship coach. If you'd like, you can think of me as your witchy bestie who calls you out on your self-deprecating cycles while encouraging you to align with your highest self. And I'm on a mission to help women return to the wisdom of their bodies and nature and to embrace their inner power. If you're a woo-woo mom craving more self-love, confidence, fulfillment, and passion in your life, you're in the right place. The Unapologetic Moms Club podcast is here to help moms like you to thrive as your most radiant and happy self. Here you can find inspiration and tools taken from my one-on-one coaching sessions and group experiences to support you in your journey. We'll cover things like societal conditioning, inner child healing, pleasure practices, manifestation techniques, approachable rituals, and all around women's empowerment. My goal is to shift your perspective and to give you actionable takeaways so you can walk away from these episodes feeling inspired to create a life that ignites your soul. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful we're able to connect in this way, and I can't wait to dig into the contents of this episode with you. Without further ado, let's get into it. You know what really pisses me off? How many women have been tricked into thinking declining sex drive is a normal part of aging? It's not, by the way, but I see this so much inside Facebook groups. I try not to spend much time on social media and Facebook in general, but when I do hop on, it's almost every time I see women speaking about these in Facebook groups. And so I do try to put in my piece and my little nudge of a different perspective. But when I go through the comments, so many women are saying how, yeah, it's just a normal part of things, like get your hormones checked. But as long as that's fine, like it's just normal, that's how things go. And this way of thinking, it only perpetuates the problem. It keeps the narrative of the exhausted mom, always feeling overwhelmed. She's disconnected from her body and herself, and all of that, because there's so many different things that come along with it, it just further disconnects her from those around her as well. And so this isn't really a story I'm here for. Although it is very common, it is not normal. And the reality is that your sex life can get better and better with age, and that this has just this profound impact on how you feel overall. Because, like I say in what's seeming like almost every episode as I record these, is that your sexual energy is your life force energy. When you know how to embrace it, how to tap into it, it overflows this vitality into your life. This energy, this presence, this radiance. And so I've seen this through my VITA program, my coaching certification. There's a wide range of peers. My particular cohort, there is around 300 students from all around the world in a myriad of ages. And so I've seen firsthand, walking through this program side by side with these women, that your sex life can, and there's so much possibility in it getting better and better with age. Through your 40s, through your 50s, through your 60s, through your 70s and beyond. Because as you begin to accept more and more of yourself, and exploring sexuality just has this massive component of acceptance for yourself and self-love. It's really healing and accepting these shames, these embarrassments, these things you hide from yourself that your fear of being judged for. So the more you can pursue this, you find more of that acceptance for yourself. You truly give less fucks, and you explore more over time. You get to explore all these different things on your own with your partner. It opens your world to all these different things that you can enjoy. And on the flip side, you also know what you don't want, so you know not to do as much of that. And you're better able to communicate this with your partner over time, the connection that comes from long-term partnerships. And I'm a really big long-term partnership person, long-term monogamist myself, and that's because of the connection you build over time in a conscious relationship, not just any relationship, but a conscious one where you're truly there for one another, working through your shit, pushing each other and ourselves to be better versions of ourselves. Through that, you just build this incredible connection. So all of these things combined, of course, you are going to have a thriving sex life. And sure, there is one main concern that comes up in terms of declining hormones and things like that with age, and that can be estrogen and dryness. But that's what lube's for, ladies. Like, lube is here to help us. We don't need to shy away from it. And yes, sex gets better and better. We don't need to prescribe to this narrative that sex drive decreases with age, because it's bullshit. It's not true. That has so much more to do with your lifestyle than anything. It is a symptom of being disconnected from yourself and your feminine nature. So there's definitely a health component to all of this, like hydration, protein intake, B vitamins, minerals, getting enough sleep. And I go into all of that in a season 1 episode with Laura Martyr. So you can check that out for that side of the conversation. But the other side of this conversation, and really being able to embrace your sexuality and having a thriving sex drive and having playfulness and fun and pleasure with your partner and with yourself, a beautiful tool to tap into all of this is through a self-pleasure practice. And so this is something that just opened my world almost 4 years ago at this point. And I go very in depth in this in an upcoming free event, Revitalized Mom, Nourishing Through Pleasure. But essentially, having a pleasure practice can look in many different ways. And this can be something as simple as really relishing in those simple pleasures of life, really dropping in, being present with the full flavors and tastes and sensations that come through as you sip your morning coffee. The experiences you have as you walk out in nature with your family, feeling the crunching leaves, breathing in that beautiful fresh air, noticing the ways noticing the way the leaves and the moss glisten in the dew, searching for mushrooms and slugs and different animals, whatever might be around in your area. That is a very simple way of tapping into pleasure, tapping into your presence. Another great one that sounds super weird, but I fucking love and is amazing for when you're having a bath is a face massage. And yes, this feels weird to do at first, but it feels amazing. Like, when has your face ever been touched in that way? My guess is probably not. Maybe the odd time you may have had a facial or something like that. But to really just sink into the bath, put some face oil on, and massage into your face feels so good. It is so nourishing. And it's just one of those amazing ways that when you can give yourself the love and pleasure you deserve. How incredible is it that we can do that for ourselves, that we don't need to look outward for that? And 2, it builds our connection with ourselves. It opens up our receptivity to pleasure, because we all have a certain capacity of the amount of pleasure we let in. And the more we're able to step back, to receive, to open up to, our capacity widens and widens. And that correlates with how much joy and happiness and laughter and love we allow ourselves to feel as well. Now, some other pleasure practices. A honeypot meditation is a great bridge into the sexual side, and I have a recording available on my website. And essentially, that is a meditation where you are pouring in radiance, confidence, the different qualities you want associated with your sexuality. And you are sinking and pouring those qualities into your sexual organs throughout your full yoni, your anus, like all around there. Just sinking in that self-love, that confidence, that radiance, whatever else you're wanting to really nourish yourself, to rewire your nervous system around how you feel about your sexual organs, about your sexuality. And so that's a super potent practice. And then there are other things where you can really begin to work with self-pleasure in a more fun and exploratory way, doing your thing with your pleasure tools. This is all things I really go in depth in that upcoming event, Revitalized Moms, Nourishing Through Pleasure. So if this sounds interesting, I definitely recommend you check out that link to learn more about it. But these are all great ways of incorporating more pleasure in your day and beginning to explore and navigate your sexuality in a fun, personal way that is truly for you, in honor of you. And the more you begin to do these things, the more your sex drive starts to spark. So you're building this beautiful connection with yourself, like I've touched on. Doing these pleasure practices is, if you can't tell by the way I love them because they are so nourishing. So much self-care is just like free self-care. It's slapping a band-aid on it, and it is not truly nourishing or making a lasting impact. Pleasure practices do make a lasting impact. They do nourish yourself. And so that allows you to show up in a better way, tapping into that life force energy and feeling revitalized, allowing that libido to spark more. Because the more orgasms you have, the more orgasms you want. Your sex drive increases, your energy boosts, your confidence boosts. The more pleasure you receive, the more feel-good hormones flood your body. You get that oxytocin, that dopamine, that serotonin. Like, how can you not feel good when you're experiencing all of these things, right? And as all of these things are boosting and feeling good in your body, you begin to have a better connection with your partner. You begin to show up in a different way, care for them in a different way. They begin to see these like shifts in you, and they begin to shift as well. And you can begin to explore more together, both in your basic connection within your relationship, as well as the fun sexual side. I hope you can tell, listening to this episode, your libido does not need to die away as you get older as a mom. Okay? We are not here for that narrative. That is not a reality here. It might be a reality for some, but that's just because their eyes have not been opened up to the truth. And that although it's common, it is not normal. It does not need to be your normal. There's so much that can be done about it. Yes, health is a component, and I do encourage you to check out our previous episode with Laura Martyr. Having conversations with her really helped boost my health. So then I was able to bring in more of these pleasure practices to explore more on this side. So I do invite you to check that out. I will try and link it in the show notes for you. And then to bring in a pleasure practice, commit to connecting with yourself, to nourishing yourself. And through this connection, through this opened up receptivity to pleasure, you are going to boost all those feel-good ways that you feel. You are going to boost your libido. You're going to have more of a sex drive with your partner, bring back more of that fun and playfulness in your relationship. So I hope you found that helpful. I would love to hear your thoughts. I know this is a struggle point, as I touched on at the beginning, for so many women. I see it all over the place. So if this is something you're struggling with, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram at janine.mckinnon. I would love to chat with you, and I invite you to my upcoming free event. I'm so excited for it. 5 days of using inner child healing, breathwork, and pleasure practices to really help you be that revitalized mom, to show you how you can nourish yourself through pleasure and have that overpouring of all those feel-good feelings, allowing you to show up as the way you want to, as a mom, as a partner, and as a multifaceted woman. So the link is down in the show notes for that. And until next time, take care. Thank you so much for joining us inside the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you feel called, I would so appreciate it if you shared about this episode in your stories or left us a review to help us reach more women on their unapologetic mama journey. As a thank you for your support, you'll be entered into our monthly draw for a free laser coaching session. Just tag at janine.mckinnon in your story shares, or leave the rating or review, screenshot it, and email to janine@unapologeticmotherhood.com to be entered. One lucky winner is selected every month for a focused coaching session to support you in working towards your current desires. Until next time, trust your inner wisdom and create some magic.